My dear Elaina, today you turn 5, and 5 years ago I honestly could not imagine reaching this point. You were such a tiny and fragile little baby. You spent some extra time in the NICU. You had a little tanning bed you laid on to help lower your bilirubin levels, and eventually you needed help via feeding tube and pump. You weren't gaining weight and you weren't able to latch onto me or to a bottle, so we needed the extra help. The biggest medical issue we worried about was that you had 2 holes in your heart, and that scared the living daylights out of me. So while we waited the long, grueling 4.5 months until you could have your surgery, in between weekly pediatrician appointments, specialist appointments, and learning how to best handle your day-to-day care, we bonded, and I fell in love. You were mine, and I was yours. You needed more care than a typical baby, but we adapted. We made it work. I was often scared to take you out of the house, scared you would get sick, therefore potentially risking you not receiving your heart operation on time. You were hospitalized twice in between the time you were born and the time you were supposed to have your surgery. Once to get the feeding tube and pump set up, once for RSV, which lasted 2 weeks of us living in the UK, watching you struggle to breathe and praying you made it through. In order to have your surgery, you had to be illness-free for a certain chunk of time. And my biggest fear was that some illness or other would come along and compromise your chances of getting your heart operation on time. But we lucked out by about 1 or 2 days, and you just made the cutoff of being sick and getting the surgery. So at 4.5 months old, you went into a cold, sterile hospital room, and your dad and I were waiting for around 6 or 7 hours before we were finally told you were in recovery. There was a minor setback in your surgery, and you needed to have a second patch put on one of the holes. Then we were told that one of your valves wasn't able to fully be fixed, and therefore there was a slow leak from that valve. You were put on medication, and to this day you're still on that medication. You're seen regularly by your pediatrician and your cardiologist, but so far there's no need for an artificial valve. However, in your future, you will require one. Hopefully, though, that's far, far down the line. My dear sweet Elaina, from day one you were my girl, Mama's girl, and despite all the medical issues we dealt with, despite Mama having postpartum depression, and some days feeling like things would never get better, slowly they did. After your surgery, you were like night and day. You stopped sleeping all the time, and you started moving more, smiling, laughing, and loving. In that first year we went through a lot, but we made it. So that was a huge milestone all on its own. That first birthday we celebrated felt magical. My baby, the one I was so excited for, had made it to a year, despite all our trials. What an accomplishment. And now you are 5. You walk. You sort of talk. And by that I mean you have some words, but you mostly babble and just point to get your point across, and you make a lot of sounds, and that's about it. You sort of run, and it's funny to watch you because you don't do a typical run. You kind of move your legs out side to side in a little waddle. And you've just started jumping properly, bending your knees and using both legs. You love to dance, to laugh, and most of all, you love to cuddle. Whenever I'm laying on the couch with a blanket, I always know that soon you will come to me, lift the blanket, and join me. You're my girl. When I'm sad, which unfortunately is often these days, you always come give me hugs and kisses and try and make me feel better. One of my biggest fears is that you will remember the sad days and not the happy ones. Hopefully that fear will be unfounded, because I want you to grow up happy and knowing you are loved more than the sun and the moon and the stars combined. You have had lots thrown at you. Your heart things, your dental surgery, your adenoids, tonsils, and tube surgery. And during winter, you always have some pretty bad asthma attacks. But you've made it. And always with a smile. Well, okay, not always. Sometimes you could kill a person with the looks you give. But even with those looks, you're still cute. When you're mad, when you're sad, when you're crying and screaming, and when you're happy and smiling, you're a beautiful person, inside and out. In a few months, you'll be starting school. You will be in kindergarten. Although, out here they call it grade primary, and where I'm from it's called kindergarten, so we're sticking with that. In truth, I am terrified. We just received a report from the preschool psychology assessment, and they put you on the developmental scales ranging from 19 months to bordering on 2.5 years old. So to me, I feel like essentially I'm sending a 2.5-year-old to school with a bunch of 4 to 6-year-olds. But I think you will prove to me that you'll be able to handle it, and perhaps it's the push you will need with your speech and peer interactions. Maybe you'll go from saying just "love Lou" to me to saying "love you." But let me tell you, hearing "love you" makes my day. But the day you say those words clearly and properly, I'm sure my heart will burst. When Emmett came along, I feared that you would resent him and me for taking time away that was previously reserved only for you and sharing it with him. And while some days we have had that struggle, most of the time you're only accepting and loving of your new little family member. And now, developmentally, you two are the same age. You're pretty much twins. In fact, you act like twins. You are the best of friends, and you're the worst of rivals. You hug and kiss all the time, you play together. Although, again, that sibling rivalry rears its ugly head. Mostly, you two are partners in crime. You copy everything he does, and he copies everything you do. You love each other, and seeing you love each other really brightens my heart and gives me hope for the future. I can't wait to see what this next year brings, what your first year in school will throw at us, and how we will all learn to adapt from it. And I truly cannot wait until the end of the school year to see what progress you have made. Elaina, my girl, you are one loved little person. Your daddy, your brother, and all your family and friends love the crap out of you. I hope you know that, always, forever, and that you never have any moments where you don't feel loved, because you are. Being a mother is basically a constant struggle between wanting you to stay my baby forever and being excited about all of the amazing things you're going to do in your life. And Elaina, I have no doubt that you are going to do amazing things. You're so smart, and you're so bright, and you're so sweet. And I just can't wait to see what happens in the future, not just this next year in kindergarten, but for the rest of your life. I love being your mother, and I love that you're my girl. So I'm going to end this letter by singing in my horribly off-tuned and plain terrible voice the lullaby that I sing to you, that despite my bad voice, you love anyways. So here goes. You are my baby, my little baby, and I love you all the time. You are my baby, my little baby, and your heart belongs with mine. I love you, Elaina. Happy 5th birthday. Mwah.